is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
We brought the room down early last week. We still have Activision stuff to talk about later in the show, but it's much more optimistic news. But I want to get started on a more fun, free, more whimsical topic. Mike is going to tell us about the Ascent, but before he does, I'm going to tell you why I am not going to tell you about the Ascent. So you guys might have heard on the show the past couple weeks. I've been experimenting to see if Xbox Game Pass was a feasible thing to own if you don't own an Xbox or a PC. So I've been trying it on my phone. I've been trying it on my iPad. I've been trying it on my Mac, streaming through the cloud just to see if games are in a state that I would say is playable. Like, doesn't have to be a one-to-one experience, but it has to be playable, and a wide variety of games have to be playable. And after a month, I can tell you that no, it is not able. You're not able to do Game Pass without owning an Xbox or a PC. Like, you have to have one of the two to make it realistic, because the cloud is just not there yet. And I figured that out finally, like the final nail in the coffin was when I played the Ascent, because I played the Ascent on my phone on a Wi-Fi connection, and just the latency was too rough, even for a game like that, even like a top-down twin stick action shooter. The latency was just a little too slow and just a little unresponsive enough that it just wasn't good. Like, I wasn't expecting Forza Horizon to be playable on the phone. It wasn't. I wasn't really expecting like Halo to be playable on the phone, and that wasn't that good either. Monster Train worked fine. Like, anything that doesn't require, any kind of like real-time twitchy style reflexes would probably work fine. So if you're playing like a strategy game, if you're playing an RPG, not an action RPG, but just like a turn-based RPG, something slower paced, whatever, like those things will work okay. But the type of games that I like to play are action games, and they're not going to work. They're just not going to work on there. So I am not going to renew my Game Pass subscription. I'm going to let it expire. And I will start looking semi-actively for an Xbox. Now, here's the thing. Do I hold out to get a Series X, or is a Series S going to be sufficient given that it's my alternate system?
I don't think you would. You would get the Series S and be like, well, why do I even have this? Like, I feel like you would just be like, who cares?
Yeah.
With that, like, the Series S feels like a lateral move to me. Well, you don't have an Xbox.
I don't have an Xbox One, so.
Nah, man. What's the difference? $100?
$200.
200. Ooh, 200.
Yeah. But I'm also a fucking I'm also a spec whore, Micah. Like that's the problem.
I know, right?
Like, I like my specs.
I don't know. For you, I don't see the S as a viable option.
I think you're right. Like I'm the guy that literally just bought like a second 4K monitor, so I got dual monitors in my office because I got the Mac Mini, so like I didn't have the built-in screen anymore. And I'm just like, now, like with PlayStation 5 having some games with like 120 hertz compatibility, like I'm like, do I buy a 144 hertz monitor? Like, do I do that? That's where I'm at right now. So I think you're right. I think the X is the way to go.
Yeah. Like, who are we fooling here?
Yeah. So tell me, what am I missing? What am I missing in the Ascent, since I can't play it right now?
The Ascent is a top-down twin stick shooter set in like a cyberpunk world where this mega corporation has fallen, and you play as some like dock worker, some fully customizable dock worker who gets swept up in all the shenanigans. It's really pretty. It's got I'm not that far into the story, but it's fun to play. They have this mechanic where, so it's a twin stick shooter. So you have your person and they're moving around and you can aim with the right stick, but you can also you and default firing is firing at the hip, right? But you can also aim your gun, and by aiming it, you raise the sight to your eye level. So you literally shoot on a different Z plane.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that in order to get headshots. You can do that in order to stay in cover and blind fire over top of your cover. It's a pretty fun game. It's a game that I would probably buy if I didn't have Game Pass. I am enjoying it. But I have to put more time in it, and I haven't done any co-op stuff yet.
Okay. Yeah,
But
all the buzz about this game is that it's like the perfect, it's the type of game that was made for Game Pass, because like if people had to shell out $40 for this, like there's a lot of folks who would be really who would be really critical of it with some of the issues that are in the game, but they're like, well, but since I didn't really pay for it, like
like
fine with these issues. like
I've encountered a couple of bugs. I didn't know it was $40.
Well, no. I don't. I'm not saying it cost $40. I'm just saying that if they had it at $40, which a game like this would have cost $30 or $40, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah,
people would have been a lot more critical of it. But being as they got it as part of their Game Pass subscription, they're just like, well, whatever,
Yeah, it's fun. It looks good. It plays well. The sound is great. It's a little buggy, I've gotten but nothing like major, right? Like just some like cosmetic bugs, like if I equip something, I won't be able to, sometimes I don't see it on my character, or you can change your look at any time, and I changed my look and it wouldn't change my look. You know what I mean? Like that stuff doesn't matter in terms of the actual game. It's not easy. Like you're gonna be these things they're gonna fight you, and you're not just gonna walk around and just blow people away with a handgun or your little submachine gun. Like it's not a like an easy game, so to speak. Maybe it does get that way with co-op, from the sheer fact that you have more people there. But yeah, I'm digging it so far.
I can't wait to play it eventually one day. Whenever that happens. Well, while we're on the Game Pass train, you also downloaded, and what a download I'm sure it was, just in terms of sheer capacity.
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is on the Xbox Series X.
So this thing was 102 gigs.
Yet somehow less than like Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
and games that like people are like, oh my god, so big. I'm like, there are games that are bigger, like that we just play. It's fine.
Flight Simulator is I have no business being around a plane. I'm doing the tutorial, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You turn the plane with your feet, right? Like, because you don't use the stick, because that controls the wings. Like, in order to turn the plane with the wheels, you got to use your feet. Like, oh, okay, hey, it's a little factoid. And then it comes to like moving the plane, and like you feel the inertia, right? Like you can't stop on a dime, because this is a fucking multi-ton plane. But once you're flying, if it kind of feels serene, I think is the proper word for it. Like if I'm flying, it feels relaxing.
Have you been to Disney World in the past like 15 years?
I haven't been to Disney World since I was 5.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been around. Like they have a ride at Disney World at Epcot that's called like I think it's called like Sail or Swing or something or Glide or something like that. It's like an experience ride where you're in like a giant like hang glider and you're just kind of like coasting over all these like very visually impressive
Yeah.
locations in the world essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this. And you know, you can, like, there's a mode where you could just jump in and you're already like the plane's already in the air and you're just, you know, basically doing like a world tour
Mhm.
of different cities. And you know, that's very cool, right? Like it's like if you ever like uh um just hopped on Google Earth and just was like, huh, I wonder what they're doing in Germany right now. Like, I wonder what this looks like. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is. That's what that is. The very difficult part, which I imagine is the very difficult part when you're actually flying, is taking off and landing.
Of course.
Taking off and landing is a bit of a pain. But yeah, I got no business being around a plane. And when you are when you're flying, like I thought that they would take more strides to, if your plane is going out of control or careening somewhere, or you know, I thought that the simulator would take more strides to like cut away from something like that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can land your plane in the middle of a soccer field.
It doesn't like
Which is
explode
what I
or
did.
anything, though.
It doesn't explode,
Yeah.
but you know, it's weird seeing a plane, you know, upside down and then hit the ground. You know what I mean? And then it you know, it cuts to black. But I don't know. It just felt kind of, I don't know. I'm being overly sensitive about it, but
How good? So like I'm still not clear. Like so the visual representation of these places. Like, is this an in-game model of real life that looks photorealistic, or are they actually using like
they're using satellite photos.
okay,
Satellite photos, and you know how sometimes in Google Earth they have like the 3D modeling,
yeah,
3D rendering. That's what they're doing here.
okay.
And it looks very good. It looks very, very realistic with their photos, right? Like they're high
So
quality photos.
what places did you visit?
Um, Rome, Paris, and um, and I flew over the U.S. a couple of times
Okay.
before I got bored. I wanted to go to a couple of places that I've been to, just to, you know, I gotta make sure, that they got this right, right? Like I gotta make sure that they got the Eiffel Tower. That's where it's supposed to be, right? And it passed my check.
There you go. I would have flown to various like sporting facilities basically around the world.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like I would have checked out Camden Yards. Like, how good does this look? Like, did you guys capture the aesthetic correctly? Would have gone to my house. Like,
Yeah.
you see my house?
Exactly. It's like what people do when they get a car game like Gran Turismo or something that
Yeah.
has like a bajillion cars in it. The first thing you do is you want to get your car.
Yes,
Right?
assuming it's in the game. It's not as
Right.
not as much anymore because they have fewer cars than they did back in like the GT2 days. But
Yeah, well, nobody wants to drive around in a Mitsubishi Galant unless they have to. You know what I mean?
I totally understand that. So. It's funny. There are a lot of cars in GT that like I like personally that are like nice cars, but of course in Gran Turismo they're shit just because like they're on the low end of the scale. Like I like Mini Coopers, but in GT like they're not good. But they have like a whole Mini Cooper race circuit basically that you can use. So that's fun. Cool. I've been trying, like I've been working through my not even backlog of games that I own, because who has time for that? Instead, I've been buying like games that I've wanted to buy for a while that I just didn't get around to doing because they've been on sale. I got Frostpunk, which is a like a real-time strategy game that's kind of like Civilization if Civ was real time. I'm not good at that game, and I didn't particularly enjoy it very much. Like I played through the first couple days, and I'm just like, I don't think this is for me. So I'm glad I only paid like $8 for it. So pass on that. I got Void Bastards, which Terrence has talked about on the show before. And I enjoyed what I played of Void Bastards, but I've only played it once. I played it for like a couple hours in one sitting. I need to get back to that game because it's interesting. It's a roguelike first-person shooter. With some very interesting mechanics in it. So more on that to come. But the other game that I've been playing a lot is Splunky 2, another roguelike game, because that's all I play anymore, apparently. And Splunky 2 is the game so far that I am the worst at, that I can't put down. Because I'm really bad at Splunky 2. But more than any roguelike I've played so far, Splunky 2 is the master of the, well, we're just going to do one more run. Like it's the master of that, because the runs are so short, or at least the ones that I'm going on are so short. So like Splunky is a 2D side-scrolling game that is procedurally generated, that you have the same like obstacles that you run up against, but you never know how they're going to be thrown at you, and how the level is going to be designed, and the different traps that'll be in there and stuff like that. And you have like bombs you can throw, which you can explode any of the terrain, which you can create like new pathways for yourself, which is nice. There are different secrets that you can find throughout the levels. The levels are broken up in like a very old school Mario style, where it's like you have world 1, which has like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, that kind of thing. I've yet to make it out of world 1. Like I've made it to 1-4, to what I presume is like the boss of world 1, and I can't get past the boss. And that's if I can get there, because the other thing about Splunky is that it's so random that you might have one run that lasts like a decent amount of time, and then like the next run you have might just be stupid from the jump, like as far as what they're throwing up against you, and you might die in like 30 seconds. Like it's like that style of thing. But it's fun. Like I said, I'm enjoying Splunky. It's very easy to get into. It's very low overhead from a complication standpoint. And again, because runs don't take more than a couple of minutes, especially this early on, it's easy just to like, well, I'll do one more. Oh, that only lasted like 45 seconds. Well, I'll do one more. Like, and you just keep, and before you know it, like you've sat there for 90 minutes going on Splunky runs. So I hope to get past the first world so I can explore more of what the game has to offer. But I'm really enjoying it so far, because I've always wanted to play the first one, but I knew Splunky 2 was coming. So I just wanted to wait for that to come out, and I didn't want to pay $20 for it because I'm a cheapskate. So I waited for the price to come down to 13, and I was like, that's the right price. Another game, by the way, that I really wish was on the Nintendo Switch. I don't understand why it's not. The Switch could easily play Splunky.
It's not?
No, I don't even think it's on Xbox, actually. I think it's just on PlayStation and PC.
Wow, yeah, because I'm looking at the Steam page and I'm like, all right, the Switch could handle this, I think.
It 100% could handle it. Like it's definitely not a game that's dining out on its HD graphics. But yeah, aside from that, like I'm just playing that, and I did jump back into Persona to finally see the resolution for the Madarame dungeon, which was a little underwhelming compared to the first one. Like I was expecting to get like Yusuke like confronting him personally on camera, but that's not what happened.
Well, they start off that game with a bang, right? With the first palace.
Absolutely.
and subsequent palaces are the Madarame one, I think, is the that one, and the one after it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for, but
really? I like the visual design of the Madarame Palace. So
yeah, I'm talking about the story. I'm talking about the story aspect of it.
Well, you would know because you've been playing a lot of P5R.
I finished it. I finished it.
Yeah,
102 hours and 39 minutes. And
didn't you start playing? Like you started playing it when I started, like shortly after I started playing Persona 5.
Yeah, because I'm working from home. And here's the thing. I already owned the vanilla version. But I bought the royal version because the royal version has like more stuff in it, right? Like it's got a new playable character. It's got a whole like extra semester, right? And when I got to the end, and I was popping trophies left and right. And when I got to the end, there were two trophies. There were my trophy count is 50 of 53. One of them is the platinum, so I'm missing two trophies. And I'm like, one of them's hidden, and the other one I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, all right, well, let me look these up, right? And I look them up, and I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, this happens in the third semester. And I'm like,
yeah,
well,
there are missable trophies in Persona.
And I'm like, I didn't get a third semester. And as a matter of fact, I don't really remember having. I remember having that one new character in a story-driven party one time, and then that was it. Like, what's the deal? And apparently, you have to talk to this guidance counselor who is a new character. And if you don't form a meaningful relationship with him by a deadline, you miss out on all of that. And I'm like, yo, what? This is like you not forming a relationship with Liara, so you can't play Lair of the Shadow Broker.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, what, huh? Like, I was so pissed, man, because one, he's like a milquetoast character, right? Like, there are characters who I just do not care about. But I didn't know that the game, to the game's credit, it does say, hey, this person's leaving in November. You should make time to talk with the guidance counselor.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is if the game at least tried to nudge you
in
their direction. So
it does. And I'm an idiot, and I just didn't want, because I didn't want to talk to this guy. I was like, fuck this guy, man. I'll put him on the back burner. I got other relationships I'm trying to cultivate. And it turns out he is the key to all of the extra content. And I'm like, yo, that 50 of 53 is really pissing me off. But there's no way I can get those 3 trophies.
No, not unless you've been creating save files along the way that you can
without playing another 100 hours of game. So I'm just like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna have to. I just looked up and the ending is supposed to be different. It's not that different. Like,
well, let me ask you this question. So
I was so pissed, man.
So you said he leaves at a certain time, but is he there from the beginning of P5R? Like, can you access him from mostly the beginning of the game?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Look, it's my own fault, right? I'm not saying that.
Well, that was my other question. Like, do you have to wait till a certain date before you start doing the new shit, or can you just get to him as early as humanly possible and then do the new content from there?
He's available from May to November.
Okay.
And
so you basically have to get through the first palace first, and then you can go fuck with him.
Right. But you have to max out the relationship by November, which you can if you actually talk to him.
Right.
But the additional content isn't until the 3rd semester in the calendar year.
Oh, so you have to beat the whole game.
You have to beat the whole fucking game. It's like, come on, man. God damn it. So, I won't spoil the ending for you, but I feel like you would appreciate the last fight.
Yeah.
The final boss. I feel like you in particular would appreciate it. I don't know how you do anything after that. Like, it's a pretty epic fight. I would say if you are going to, you're playing a JRPG with the fate of the world in your hands, take a guess who the final boss is, right?
Well, I mean, Carrie has alluded to the premise of every Shin Megami Tensei game ever.
So right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you come back from that. but how you continue on after that.
Have to go to battle in the Tower of Judgment, do you?
I mean, yeah.
That's
so I just don't understand why that content is locked off to the very end of the game.
I
Like
just don't understand how it can be locked off till the end when you have to do something like well before it to be able to
right.
Like that seems kind of silly to me.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's a bummer because I don't imagine you're going to go play through all the P5 again, at least not anytime soon. Like maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah, I can't play. I can't go back and play. That was 4 consecutive 24-hour days is what that equals to.
Yeah,
I can't go back to that right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna let Persona like slow burn. Like I'm gonna play it when I feel like playing it, and I'll get as far as I can until something completely takes me away from it. Which maybe Deathloop might be that game. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be Horizon because Horizon got delayed. So we'll see about that. I don't know what Agent Intercept is. That's also on your list here.
Agent Intercept. I was looking through my phone and I had to update my apps, and they'll give the little stories and stuff. I saw one for Agent Intercept. I said, "Wow, this looks like Spy Hunter," and it is. It's a 3D isometric Spy Hunter. And I only bring it up because it's available through Apple Arcade. It's got all the trappings of like your generic like spy theme, and it's pretty fun. It's a fun little time waster that if you have Apple Arcade and are fans of the men with the golden tongues as we are,
I do have Apple Arcade. I guess I need to check
you should check it out. It's it's not going to blow you away, but like it's fun.
I found it difficult to really get into like Apple games because like I've been trying some more of them now that I have this Backbone controller, and I don't know, there's just something about like playing those games on a mobile phone that just it feels like it's designed for the mobile experience, which I'm just not looking for that. The only thing that I played so far that works well on mobile, because it's an Apple Arcade as well, is Manifold Garden, which I'm kind of noodling through as we go. I also downloaded the Pathless because they have that on Apple Arcade too, which was a PS5 game. So I'm going to check that out on there to see if it's any good. I've heard good things about it.
Cool.
So we'll take a look at that. Speaking of things, I actually haven't heard many good things about any of this stuff yet. So we'll see what happens though. But we have new PlayStation Plus games this month. So the first one is a new game that's coming out for PS5 and PS4 called Hunter's Arena Legends. They showed this during their last State of Play, where this is a battle royale game, but it's a fighting game. So like it's weird. It's 30 player PvE and PvP, and it's a battle royale. And like I said, it seems like a fighting game. I don't know if it's like a fighting game like Tekken's a fighting game, or a fighting game like For Honor was a fighting game. It looks like more of like a For Honor type of thing, but again, they were advertising it as like, no, this is a fighting game, but a battle royale. So it's free. I have to imagine that it being a fighting game, so to speak, Micah will at least have to check this out. I might as well. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I might, but I think this is, when you log into Game Pass through your Xbox, they have categories, and one of the categories is fighting, and that ranges from your traditional Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat to like UFC to any third person action game where fists are thrown. So I think this is probably the latter of those three, but we'll see.
We'll see. If you have a PS4 or a PS5, you can also get Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville for free, as well as Tennis World Tour 2. Two games that I will probably not be playing.
I would check out the tennis game and then remove it.
Fair enough. I need Mushroom Kingdom denizens in my tennis game. Maybe Hot Shots. Hot Shots made a tennis game one time. I didn't play it though. I heard it was decent. On Xbox, Games with Gold for the month of August is actually a pretty good slate here. Darksiders 3 is available for the entire month of August. Ukulele is available from August 16th to September 15th. Lost Planet 3 is available from August 1st through 15th. And then Garou Mark of the Wolves is available from August 16th through 31st. So those are the 4 games that you get for free. If you have an Xbox, again, I've heard good things about Darksiders 3, and I've heard good things about Ukulele, especially if you're a Banjo fan. It might be worth checking out. As far as other new games, Light Week this week, Lemnis Gate comes to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Rocket Rumble comes to PC. The Falconeer Warrior Edition comes to PlayStation and Switch to go along with the Edge of the World DLC that's releasing on PC and Xbox this week. And then Starmancer comes to PC. And that's it. That's all that's coming out. Starmancer.
Some magician who uses ninja stars? I don't know. Go to dancepixels.com/fans. When you do, you'll get invited to our Discord. And you can do a lot with the Discord. You can chat with us directly. You can see what other fans of the show are talking about. And you can post things in the post office for us to comment on. Go to dancepixels.com/fans. Come to the Discord. It's fun. You'll enjoy it. Come to youtube.com/dancepixels and subscribe. When you do, you'll be able to see the beautiful Mass Effect artwork on Brad's wall. He's got a ghost back there. What else?
A signed picture, a signed personalized picture of Kevin Butler, former Sony vice president of many things.
So there you go. And I got the same junk behind me as I always do. You can see Cyborg Spider-Man over there because he fell down recently, and I'm just too lazy to pick him up. But you can also subscribe to the show. You can smash that like button and hit subscribe, and click the bell notification icon to be notified on when we upload a new episode by going to youtube.com/dancepixels. Subscribe to all of the TMP shows wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, which will be back this week. I'm gonna check out Jungle Cruise tonight and give my opinions on it. I also have to watch that He-Man show that everyone seems to either really like or really dislike. Black on Black Cinema, which took a week off because Jay decided to abandon his duties and go on vacation, I guess.
Yeah, I could have filled in, I feel like. The preview episode on Black Cinema this week.
We've been teasing. We've been saying that we want to do an April Fool's joke one day, where it's just all the white people on the show. And are like, hey, everybody, welcome to Black on Black Cinema. Coming distractions are our movie review show. I think Demetrius went to go see Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds as an NPC in an open world game. So I think he'll have a review on that. And the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Man, you're saying that's a lot of podcasts, but I want more. Well, we got more at dancepixels.com/premium for $5 a month or $50 for the full year. You get access to the airing of grievances, which we need to get back on the ball. No Time to Bleed. The Men with the Golden Tongues, which Brad and I will schedule when to record the Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty episode after this one. Upstage Conversation and the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast, which I guess was just uploaded like an hour ago. So I can't give you a preview on it, but
it's good. People are taking Andy's back, first of all. Andy was on this week, and I was not. And it's great because people are taking horse dewormer to try to fight off their coronavirus.
I'm sorry, what?
This is I shit you not.
Well, look, if that ain't the best tease in the
Yeah.
world, I don't know what to tell you. Go to densepixels.com/premium.
All right, we got to talk again about the Activision stuff, but I gotta say, so I was expecting faster movement on things with this story than we saw with like Ubisoft, for example, just because the news was like so loud and never ending. I don't think I was expecting the whiplash effect that we've gotten over the past week of this shit swinging back the other direction, where I mean, before the Activision employees and Blizzard employees did their walkout last week, you know, Bobby Kotick put out an open letter, talking about how their statement was tone deaf and made sure to tout their impressive financial results, which, you know, whatever. And he said, "Oh, we're going to do a better job of listening." And all of the employees were basically like, "Hey, Bobby, go pound sand. Like these are our demands. Like, if you're not going to do these things, then we don't really want to fucking hear it." To the point where like they're like, like we're gonna you know, pick this specific law firm to do an external review of our company and our practices. And they were like, this law firm is like a very famous union busting law firm that exists in the country, like the most pro corporate entity you could have found. So fuck that. Actually, no, like that's not going to be acceptable to us. Like they literally put out another open letter that was like, it didn't say Bobby Kotick can go fuck himself, but it basically said Bobby Kotick can go fuck himself. Come to find out then that Alex Afrasiabi, I'm butchering his last name. I don't care. So he was fired last year from Activision Blizzard. Micah, would you like to guess what this guy was fired for?
Probably something sexual in nature, I would assume.
Yeah, like he was fired after an internal investigation last year for sexual misconduct. Yet Blizzard and Activision put out statements in the wake of this news dropping and this lawsuit coming against them, saying the lawsuit's completely frivolous. This doesn't represent who we are as a company. I would imagine that this news kind of runs counter to that narrative. Like, you literally fired this dude for the same shit that you're saying that you guys don't have going on within your walls.
Yeah, man. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Like, that's fucking wild.
Yeah. You know, the Ubisoft stuff is abhorrent. But I'm not surprised that one, I'm not surprised by anything at this point. And but I'm not surprised that it, you know, has been kept as quiet as it has. I'm also equally not surprised that when this happens in America, people are like, no, fuck this.
That, you know what? That is a really interesting point about the difference in responses that I did not really consider, because we saw a similar level of like grassroots organizing from the employees when Riot Games had their shit going on.
Yep.
And I don't think it was quite as loud, because Riot, despite making League of Legends, is not a company of the same stature. Yeah, they're not Activision Blizzard. And you're right. Yes, it wasn't like, well, I guess there was some people making it a hostile workplace, but for the most part, like, it didn't seem like there was a company culture,
right,
of toxicity to this level, at least. Like that, you know, there was no one in Riot Games that were hanging out in like the fucking Bill Cosby suite, as we saw like that picture fucking leak out from
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
Shit.
God,
like, can you imagine a more a worse picture to have leaked out there? Like, you know, it's just a joke, guys. Like, cool joke. Pretty sure Hannibal Buress was speaking the truth about Bill Cosby before that picture was taken.
Yeah, man. Like, come on, dude. I just yeah, all right. I can't believe that every single one of you is a fan of America's Dad or whatever. Like, get out of here. Yeah, man. No, you can't do this shit. You can't do this shit in America without people like really fucking, and you can't do this shit to this generation of people. Like, this generation of young person, like they get a lot of bullshit, right, from old people like me who are like, yeah, millennials. Nah, yo, they're not putting up with shit like this, and they're the people that you know we give them crap, but you need those people to make change. You need those people to make noise. Old people like me aren't going to make noise, and people younger than them don't know any better. No, you need those people to make noise.
Yeah.
Now, I appreciate it when they make noise for stuff like this, and not necessarily stuff that I find is, you know, maybe innocuous. But again, maybe that's just me being an old man. But stuff like this, nope. These kids not playing this shit.
No,
You can
no,
forget that.
and again, like the retribution was swift, and we're already seeing like major results coming from this. The first one being a major head to mount on the wall in the wake of this stuff, because the now former president of Blizzard Entertainment, J. Allen Brack, is no longer at Blizzard Entertainment. He stepped down to, quote, pursue other opportunities. I'm pretty sure that the only thing they wanted him to pursue was the fucking exit. Pretty sure that came down from on high.
Yeah, you don't want to. Also, you don't want to say that you're pursuing other opportunities given the nature of the crimes being committed here. You don't want to. I don't know, that terminology just sounds very predatory to me.
Well, and here's the thing. So he's been at Blizzard since 2018, or for 15 years. He's been the president since 2018 when Mike Morhaime left. Brack was named as somebody who was well aware of what was going on and was not really, like, he was giving people like slaps on the wrist, essentially, like to discipline them for behavior that was reported to him. So though he was not called out as participating in any of this stuff, like, he was the guy that was literally allowing things to fester underneath his watch. And not to be outdone, like literally before we started recording the show, their vice president of human resources also decided to leave the company as well, which I gotta say seems like the right move, considering. kind of not sure how you can keep your job as leading HR if that was the culture going on at your company.
Yeah, man. Like that's literally the opposite of what your job description is.
Yeah, pretty bad. So like I said, we've already gotten one of the biggest names at Blizzard out of here. So that's a quick and swift retribution, but that's not all that's happening, Micah. So this is starting to now affect the bottom line, because T-Mobile, formerly a sponsor of the Activision Blizzard Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League, is no longer a sponsor anymore. They decided to pull their sponsorship from these leagues as well, citing the this story and the news coming around it as well. Which is crazy. Like literally, like they have, there's a screenshot here of a recent Call of Duty League match with a player from the New York Subliners. They normally have a T-Mobile logo right above the team name on the front of like the sweatshirt that they wear, and there's literally like duct tape over the logo because they're not in it anymore.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Yeah. So again, super fast, super quick, and that's, we said it before on the show. You can have all of the like public groundswell and you can have the support of people behind you. The thing that really truly affects real change in America and in the world, frankly, is hitting that bottom line, hitting that dollar, man. and not on an individual level. Like I said last week, like sitting there and being like, oh, I'm going to boycott D2R because of this. Like that's not going to really do anything.
Yeah, no, man.
But people with the big bucks that can do it. I mean, again, like we saw it happen with, like we see it happening in politics all the time. Like watch Tom Cotton. Like Tom Cotton's a senator from Arkansas. Watch like Tom Cotton get big and bad about something, and then watch how Walmart decides to come out against something, and then see how Tom Cotton's doing after that. Because if you don't know, Walmart's headquarters are in Arkansas. Walmart is literally the most important thing to Tom Cotton, because if Walmart decides not to support Tom Cotton being the senator of Arkansas, he's probably not going to be the senator of Arkansas. So like Walmart came out recently and said that they are requiring all of their employees to be vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if Tom Cotton starts beating the not that Tom Cotton's like a huge anti-vax guy, but I'm curious to see like if he starts beating like the vaccination drum hard.
Yeah,
like this is gonna fucking happen. So they're losing sponsorship dollars. They're also getting sued by shareholders, which is the other thing that's going to affect change pretty fucking quickly. And I love it. I love it when shareholders sue companies, because the premise behind the suit is Bobby Kotick fucked up by allowing this to happen, and it's making the stock less valuable. So that's
right. They don't care. It's the bottom line, like you said. It's
because basically, like in the wake of all this stuff coming out and with the walkouts and everything like that, the Activision stock lost about like 6.7% of value, and it's just kind of kept like ticking down noticeably. Like I think it's down a total of about 10% since all this really kicked off. And so shareholders are like, this is fucked up. So I didn't really think that like Bobby Kotick would be caught up in this. Like I didn't think he'd be a casualty of this situation, because it seemed mostly contained at Blizzard, and while he is the CEO of the company, like he doesn't oversee Blizzard directly.
Right.
But if this is driving their share price down and this stays consistent, like if it doesn't rebound, Bobby Kotick's going to have to find another job.
Yeah, man.
Now that being said, Paul Tassi of Forbes made the point about both Brack, and this would be true of Bobby Kotick as well. Just don't look to see what their severance packages are going to be, because I'm pretty sure
you're going to be hurt, man. You're going to be hurt.
Like Jalen Brack got fucking tuned down on his ass, but he's going to be all right. Like he's not going to fucking suffering, which sucks. Like it'd be great if they could fucking turf his ass without having to compensate him. Like, I mean, technically, like I would imagine that his contract, if he has one, which I assume he does, has like clauses in there for negligence and things like that. Like that's, to me, that's what this is, right? Like it's negligent behavior that allowed this sort of thing to fester. I don't think you should be rewarded for that. But I'm still encouraged by the fact that this stuff is happening, because again, this is how you affect change. We've already seen more happen in a week and a half or so with the Activision situation than we've seen in a year and a half that we've known like shit that's going on in Ubisoft.
Yeah. No, you can't do that here, man. Heads will roll when especially here, man. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Like I know, like you made the point about like money rules the world, but like people want to have sex with money here, man. Like it's like they just love it. So yeah, man, like heads are gonna roll. Like and look, like I said it last week. If you're like these shareholders that are suing, look, if your only motivation is that you want more money and cutting this cancer out will give you more money, I mean that's a start, man. Like like as long as at this point I just want something to happen.
Yeah.
I want people to be held accountable. And it starts with leadership, man. It always does.
It's so funny because like I said, I watched that video of the panel that we talked about last week, where basically like all the Blizzard dudes like shit on that woman that asked the question about not having scantily clad fucking people. And I think literally half those people are not with Blizzard anymore. It'd be either they left or they've gotten fired. Like if I was anyone else that was on that panel that still works at Blizzard, I'd be super fucking nervous right now.
Yeah, man.
Because like you're front and center. Like you're the poster boy for this whole thing right now. And also anyone in the stupid in the Cosby Lounge.
Yeah, man.
Well,
every single one of them.
Yeah,
get out of here. Go find another job. And look, I'm not the type of person that's like, that screams from the high heavens that everybody should lose their job when they do something wrong. But no, I'll make an exception for these people because these people are incredibly wealthy. Like these people are going to be fine. But something needs to change. And you gotta have, you gotta make examples out of people. And yeah, sponsors. Like that's it, man. Like you just get to them sponsors, you make enough noise, you tell them, you tell T-Mobile, you tell American Airlines, I'm not gonna fly with you no more. Until this, like that's what moves the needle, man.
Yeah. And again, that is how we as individuals can affect change. Like it's one thing to, not buy a $60 video game. Like again, ultimately that's not going to hurt Blizzard's or Activision's bottom line unless a majorly organized campaign came out against that millions of people did it. But absolutely putting pressure on people that give them money,
yeah,
absolutely works. 100%. T-Mobile needs you to pay them that fucking $50 a month for your unlimited plan. They can't afford to lose that. So, but yeah, just yell at people online like that. Believe it or not, for some things it works. For politics things, it really doesn't work all that often. But for stuff like this, it can absolutely work. Because again, that's the benefit of having like a viral community like this, is that you can, if your message can get broadcasted or enough people can, it's very easy to make that a groundswell, and put some pressure on the people. And again, as if Ubisoft needed this smoke, there's a lot of people that are at Ubisoft that are looking at this situation that are like, not a lot's really happened over here, even though like all these like a few guys have lost their jobs, but Ubisoft hasn't really done anything. So about 500 people, current and former Ubisoft workers, has signed an open letter in solidarity with Activision Blizzard and is basically saying, hey, Ubisoft, what about all these empty promises you guys have made? What about all these things that you haven't done anything about? And now they're going to be turning the heat back on them as well.
Wait, we could do this?
Yeah.
wait, we don't have to come to work? Wait, we can actually seize the means of production? Like that's not just a saying?
Yeah. Yeah, they basically say like, oh, Izguimo said all these things were going to happen, but nothing's really changed that we can see. So we want you to basically, we want you to take this seriously. We want to see what you're doing. Again, stuff like the thing that the Activision Blizzard folks are demanding, like being able to have a say in an internal review of the company. Like those are very tangible things that they are pushing to get. And I could absolutely see Ubisoft doing this. And again, we said it last week, I'm gonna say it again. If you're a game studio and you think maybe possibly something like this could be going on in your neck of the woods, get out in front of this shit as fast as possible and start being the change that you want to see before you become the next studio, because there's going to be more. Like the fact that this is getting so much attention and getting so much activity. I think you said it last week, Micah. How many people are like in Jason Schreier's DMs right now?
Yeah,
at other companies.
That's it, man. Like, man, please keep giving that guy work.
Yeah,
keep giving that guy work, man. There's a saying: it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Not in this case. You better, like you said, you better get your ass out. You better clean your house because Jason coming.
This is cool though. Like I said, I'm happy for people. Like there's been a lot more people sharing their stories, which is always heartening to see. I mean, the stories suck, like, and it's just shit that they happen, but it's great that people feel strengthened enough to do that. And I don't see this story dying down anytime soon. Like I think we're gonna have another week or two of major happenings with this Activision Blizzard story specifically. So we'll keep our eyes open and we'll see what happens. But I don't think this is the last we've heard of this in the short term, at the very least. In very lighter news, comparatively. So this is interesting. So like, and I found it interesting because I am playing Gran Turismo right now. Still very fun, having a great time. Had a great race last night online where someone fucking couldn't hold their line and knocked me off the track from third to like ninth, but I managed to fight back and take fourth through the rest of the race. It was great. I felt fantastic. Microsoft's racing sim, of course, is the Forza Motorsport series. Specifically, Forza Motorsport. Forza Horizon is an open world arcade racer. That's not quite the same thing. So Forza 7 has been the game for a while now. Forza 7 came out back in 2017, I do believe. That's been the last Forza Motorsport game that's come out. There is a new Forza Motorsport that's in development that's not called Forza Motorsport. It's just called, or not Forza 8. It's just called Forza Motorsport. So, because I think that they're going to be going the live service route with these games. Like, I think they're going to make a platform and then just support that platform going forward, which is an interesting way to do it. But what's interesting is that game's not coming out till probably next year at the earliest. But Forza 7 is going to reach end of life status, and that's Microsoft's term, on September 15th. So not only will they, but what that means is that it's not just that, oh, we're not going to be supporting the game through development anymore. Like, that would be understandable. The game's been out for 4 years.
Yeah.
But when this hits end of life in a month, you won't be able to buy the game. You won't be able to buy its DLC, and it'll be pulled from Game Pass. Huh. Now, existing owners of the game can still play it. You can still download it from the Xbox store if you've already purchased it previously, and it'll still be running online. Huh. I just don't understand, though, that if the game is not, if a new game coming out is not imminent, why they would do this. Now, apparently, according to Turn 10, the developer behind the series, they have to enlist them after several years because the licenses that they use to have the real cars in the game and tracks and things of that nature will expire. And so they have to pull the game off of shelves because they won't have the license to sell the game anymore. To which I ask, seems a little short-sighted of you to do this.
Yeah. So all right, hold on. So what do they mean by they will lose the license?
Yeah. So Forza, like Turn 10 and Microsoft sign agreements with all these car companies to have their cars represented in the game, to have these real world tracks in the game that are owned by somebody that you have to license them to have their appearance be in there. And so like they have the license for Ferrari. So like they only signed it for 4 years apparently. And then like after 4 years, they don't have the license for Forza 7 anymore.
I mean, they don't like, I know it's not like an automatic, like you know, you go back to the negotiating table or whatever, but like they don't do that because they're going to have to do it eventually.
Well, the new game comes out. They have a new one. They have a new license agreement for Forza Motorsport, like the new game that's coming out, I'm sure.
So it's a per game basis?
Yeah, like they have to negotiate for each game, which again is fine. Like there's two ways of doing it. Like you have the Madden way, which they sign a long-term lease essentially with the NFL and they make a new game every year. Yeah. Or you have this way. And since they have to deal with every company individually, like it's not like there's one company that manages all the car brands for them. Like they're all individual companies. I get that. I just find it funny because this means to me that they assumed they would have had another Forza Motorsport out.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That means that they just, this is just poor planning.
Poor planning on there. So that's quite humorous to me that ended up being that way. Because when I first saw the article, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why are they doing this? And then I was like, oh, this is funny because they're not going to license. Now, my question would be, is every license expiring? Or is it only some? And does it make more sense than to do like the Forza 7 like stripped down edition where you just take out the cars that I guess that wouldn't work from a logistic standpoint.
Yeah, I feel like they're just gonna be like, you know what, let's just cut our losses and cut the whole thing off because it's gonna be too much to pull different aspects of this game apart.
So here's the thing. So from now until when the game gets pulled from the Xbox store, you can buy it for like $10. So that's a pretty good deal. I gotta say. I've not played much Forza Motorsport, because again, I don't have an Xbox, so I wouldn't have any occasion to. It's just amusing me because again, Gran Turismo came out around the same time. Gran Turismo Sport came out around the same time as this. PlayStation still Polyphony still supports GT Sport, even though they're definitely developing Gran Turismo 7 right now. But they were not short-sighted to see this happen. It's kind of wild to me, though. It's kind of wild that is the case. But yeah, so get Forza 7 while you can. Again, the game is very good. Like if you own an Xbox and you don't own a PlayStation, I don't see, and you want a sim racer, then it is the one to get, from what I understand. It's kind of like a hybrid sim, like of sorts. It kind of leans somewhat arcade.
Yeah, and in comparison to Gran Turismo, now look, I haven't played a Forza game since Forza 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it felt more arcadey to me than a Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Whereas, Forza Horizon is very much like a sim version of Need for Speed.
I'm just I'm laughing because you made the joke with me that like now that I'm playing GT and kind of getting into it, that I'm gonna buy like the fucking wheel and all that jazz. I really might. I'm really thinking about it. Like I'm looking at prices and I'm just like, it's expensive, but think of all the time that I could shave from my laps if I had it.
Well, you can go to densepixels.com/Amazon to get yourself a nice racing wheel. I went to densepixels.com/Amazon right now and just typed in racing wheel and look at all the Logitech wheels that you can get.
The G29 would be the one that I would probably pick up.
Yeah. Woo. Well, it's on sale.
It's always on
sale. Yeah, man, look at this thing. The Logitech G dual motor feedback driving force G29 racing wheel with responsive pedals. You can play it on 3 different generations of PlayStation hardware, and you can get it only at densepixels.com/Amazon. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to get this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing you're going to do is you're going to have to, I don't know how much space you have in there or wherever you play, but you are more than likely going to have build yourself a dash.
So here's the thing, right? We looked into this too. So they have wheel stands that you can get like a metal stand that you mount the wheel and the pedals on, and then you use your regular chair. The thing about the wheel stands is that they're very like they're a little wobbly because there's nothing like down the middle supporting it, right? So like they're not as good as the other thing. Now the next thing they have foldable cockpits. So basically it's like a chair that folds up and folds out that has like the wheel stand built into it. And those are a lot more sturdy, but you can fold them up to save space when you're not playing. And you can just keep the hardware mounted on it as well when you fold it up and put it away.
Yes, and you can get them at densepixels.com/Amazon just by typing in racing wheel stand. And here's a whole bunch of them. Next level racing GT light foldable simulator racing cockpit. Wow. Yeah, man, you're gonna get one, dude. You're gonna get one.
I'm having so like here's the thing. Like I've always enjoyed racing video games, even though I'm not like a car guy. Like I've never been a car guy, but I've always enjoyed racing games, and I play a lot of racing games. And I've not enjoyed a racing game the level to which I've enjoyed playing Gran Turismo these past couple of weeks. Ever. It's been so much fun. And again, it all ties back to my recent falling in love with F1, which takes us nicely into the post office because Diavrid asks me, what is my opinion on the Hamilton Verstappen crash and Red Bull's ongoing push for a harsher penalty? Now, I wish that he had asked this question last week because so much more has happened in the Red Bull Mercedes dynamic in Formula One just this past race weekend. So, Micah, to give you the Cliff Notes version, for those of you that don't follow F1, at the race in England a couple weeks ago, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, rival drivers for rival teams, are having a major like head-to-head battle for the drivers' championship this year. And they were 1 and 2 on the grid for the Silverstone race in England. So on the first lap, they're going at it. Like they're driving side by side, jockeying for position. And it's a very big deal for Hamilton to end the first lap in the lead, because if Verstappen had been able to get ahead of him, Verstappen has a better car this season. So he would have been able to open up some space. It would have been very difficult for Hamilton to have caught up to Verstappen, even if he had lost the lead on that first lap of the race. Now, a lot can happen, but you never know. But Hamilton was really trying to get that lead. So they're coming around what's called the Cops Corner in Silverstone, which is a fairly fast corner. But they were going neck and neck, but Verstappen maintained the lead. Now, the way F1 works is that if you are the lead driver, you kind of have the right of way. Like if someone's going to overtake you, like they have to overtake you. They can't push you off the track. You have to give, you have to cede position to the person ahead of you. So they're both coming around this corner. Verstappen tries to leave Hamilton a little bit of line to be able to race through, but Verstappen doesn't really do the same for him as he should have. Like Verstappen or Hamilton rather is coming around the corner. He's on the inside. Verstappen's on the outside, and Hamilton is behind. As they're coming around the corner, Hamilton clips Verstappen's back tire, which sends it flying, and Verstappen goes spinning off the track into the wall, and he's out for the race. And so what happened is that Hamilton came away relatively unscathed. He needed a new front wing, but as it happens, because he sent Verstappen off, the race got red flagged and stopped anyway, so they could fix his car. It's quite ironic. If that hadn't happened, he wouldn't be able to fix his car. He might not be able to finish the race either. but he was able to finish the car. Now, what kicked off here was a battle between the team principals, which is like the head coach for the racing team, and the stewards, who are like the referees, essentially, trying to make their case as to what should happen, because Mercedes was like, oh, it's Verstappen's fault. He didn't give Hamilton enough room. Red Bull's stance was like, Lewis Hamilton literally tried to murder Max Verstappen. how they were going about it. So what ended up happening is Hamilton got a 10-second penalty during the race, which sounds like not a big deal. 10 seconds is a lot.
10 seconds is a lot in any race.
Yeah, and so 10 seconds is a lot. So the way they do penalties in F1 is that when you go to pit, you basically like have to stop, and then while you're serving the penalty, like your crew can't touch your car. Like they literally have to wait until the 10 seconds is up before they can start changing your tires. So he has the stop go penalty. They change on a pit stop, and he comes out. Well, of course, because narrative, Hamilton ends up winning the race. Like he comes from behind. He ran a great race, took over the lead on the second to last lap, and he ended up winning. And it was his home Grand Prix. So it was quite a scene. So Red Bull kept it going, right? Like they kept it going. They're just like, oh, like fucking Hamilton, he tried to kill him. Like everyone knows you don't go around that corner that fast. This is bullshit. Like this and the other thing. Meanwhile, every pundit that saw it was just like, yeah, Hamilton was probably at fault and the penalty was deserved, but it was a racing incident. Like it's just something that happens when two guys are racing hard against each other. It's just shit's gonna happen sometimes. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So Red Bull keeps the shit going. Like Christian Horner, who's the team principal, like went on in an interview afterwards. He's like, oh, I hope Lewis Hamilton's happy. Like Max Verstappen's sitting in the hospital and he's sitting there celebrating and all this shit. And so, of course, the predictable thing happens. Lewis Hamilton, who is black, of course, gets all this fucking racial abuse heaped upon him. And of course, like, so then F1 and everybody like comes out and denounces it. And Red Bull puts out a statement like, this isn't the way. But it's like the fucking it's like the fucking meme, like the dude in the banana suit, like we're all looking for the guy that did this.
Right.
So to the point where Red Bull then appealed to the stewards this past week, and they're like, we've recreated the incident. There's no way that Lewis Hamilton wasn't more at fault. We want you to take a look at it again. Like they kept the shit going. They eventually dropped, like the stewards are like, we're not listening to this. Like they denied the appeal to even hear the appeal, essentially. And then like Max Verstappen, in the lead up to the Hungarian Grand Prix, which just happened this past weekend, was just like, they asked him a question in the press pool, and he was next to Lewis Hamilton when they asked him, because they interview drivers like multiple at a time, because it's kind of like a boxing like pay-per-view kind of thing. Yeah. And he's like, can we stop fucking talking about this? Like, seriously. Like no. And again, it's like, but Max, like, your team is the reason why we're still talking about this. Like this is why this is still going. Fortunately, Verstappen's okay, by the way. So then we get to this week, Hungarian Grand Prix. So the race starts in wet conditions. Okay. And Lewis Hamilton and his teammate Valtteri Bottas are on the front of the grid, and then the two Red Bulls are right behind them. So the race starts, everyone takes off. Bottas comes out of the gates like slow, and he gets passed by Lando Norris, who drives for McLaren. So they're coming up on the first turn. Lando Norris and Sergio Perez, the other Red Bull driver, are like side by side. Bottas is behind them. He brakes too late, and because it's wet, he slams into Lando Norris. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Lando Norris takes out Perez and then careens and manages to take out Verstappen as well. So Bottas gets both Red Bull drivers with one collision.
Holy shit.
Perez is out of the race completely. Verstappen has like a bad, I don't know, like part of his car broke, and he was able to race the rest. Like, he was able to finish the race, but it definitely affected his racing, because like he couldn't get as much speed as he normally gets on a race that's very difficult to overtake people anyway.
Yeah.
And Bottas is out of the race as well. So it was literally like, I think I shared a meme in Discord. It's like Cobra Kai, where like it's like the sensei like sweep the leg. He literally took himself, he didn't do it on purpose, obviously, but he literally took himself out. Happened to get both Red Bulls, which is hilarious. And then of course Hamilton. That's not even the funniest part. So they do the first lap. The race gets red flag. Right, everybody comes into the pits, because that's what happens when the red flag. So they restart the race. During the formation lap, which happens before the race restarts, everyone's like, oh shit, it stopped raining, it's dry, let's put slicks back on. Lewis Hamilton's the only guy that goes back to the grid with his wet tires, and literally every other driver goes back into the pits to get slick tires put on. So the race starts, Hamilton's the only person starting from the grid. Everyone else has to come out of the pit lane. And Hamilton's like, oh fuck, like we should have definitely put slicks on. So he has to pit after the first lap, comes out in last place, and still managed to get second, because he's Lewis Hamilton, because he's one of the greatest drivers in fucking history. But now he's ahead of Max Verstappen on points for the season, because Max Verstappen only scored 2 points in this last race because of the turn one incident, thanks to Lewis Hamilton's teammate. F1 is amazing. You should absolutely watch it if you don't, because it's fucking incredible.
All right, I might start watching this Drive to Survive thing. I might have to start watching it. I'm gonna put it on my my queue.
But again, so you want to know my opinion after all that of Red Bull's push to for the ongoing penalty? I look at what happened to both Red Bull cars this weekend as karmic retribution for being little baby bitches about this entire thing. I wouldn't be as mad if like Hamilton didn't get like racism thrown at him like last week. Like, that was fucked up. And Red Bull, that wasn't their intention. But what the fuck do you expect to happen? Like, you're coming out here like Hamilton trying to kill our driver. What the fuck? Like, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to be the end result of that situation?
Yeah, like, I mean, people are base at their, oh, these are only like 40 minutes. Oh, I can knock these out.
Oh, the episodes. There's 3 seasons. There's 10 a season. I would still recommend watching all 3 seasons so you can kind of learn the backstory.
Oh yeah, I can't watch a new show like, if a show has been on for 7 seasons, I'm starting at number 1. Like, because the cool thing is that most of the major players are still around. Like, most of the people they talk to are still very much like in F1 and prominent in F1. And so you'll like have relationships with these drivers before you actually start watching, the races, because you'll know their history, and you'll see their ups and downs and stuff like that as you go. Okay. It's fantastic. F1's amazing. I fucking love it. It's so fun. The last 2 races have been crazy. And Micah, you're picking a great time because they just took their summer break, so there's not going to be any racing for a month. So all right. I can knock this out in a month.
Yeah, you got 4 weeks to watch all Drive to Survive.
All right.
So, Black RKO asks, will R-Truth see his childhood hero become champ at SummerSlam?
No, not at all.
No, I agree.
There's literally no chance. No chance in hell. He's got no chance. See what I did there? No, John Cena's there for a month, and then he's going to fly to England to be in a movie with Superman, like with Henry Cavill. He's going to be in a spy movie. So this is just to put Roman over even more so.
Cam asks, which alleged AEW debut are you more excited for? Of course, the rumor and innuendo is that Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are both AEW bound. CM Punk seems more concrete from what I've seen, but it's still very much like rumor. Easily Daniel Bryan. Like Daniel Bryan will have way more interesting matches with a lot of guys in AEW. CM Punk will show up, and I'm pretty sure the first feud they're going to put it in is like it'll be Chris Jericho. Like it'll be a match we've already seen before, which will be hilarious to me that you're going to get this guy in here who's the hottest free agent in wrestling, and you're gonna recycle some old shit.
I agree with you that I think Daniel Bryan will. I think seeing CM Punk in a ring will be like, it'll get every wrestling fan, like it'll get the pop that they think it will get. But I don't necessarily want to see him wrestle anymore. But Daniel Bryan, oh yeah, I really want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle some of those wrestlers. Just because they seem to wrestle, they don't seem to do it. They wrestle a different style than WWE. So, and I'm not familiar with Daniel Bryan in his amateur days. I don't know if they would stick CM Punk with Chris Jericho. I feel like Chris Jericho is having his retirement tour.
Oh, you think so?
Where he's, yeah, man, like the labors of Jericho that they're doing. I feel like he's gonna go through his greatest characters, so to speak, and like the first one was AEW Le Champion Chris Jericho, like the Inner Circle Jericho. Then it was the Painmaker Jericho. Now he's gonna wrestle Juventud Guerrero. I think he's gonna be or Guerrera. I think he's going to be somewhere closer to like the Lionheart Jericho.
Your role model Chris Jericho.
Yeah. And I think it's gonna I think this is a Chris Jericho world tour. And then I think he'll retire from like in-ring work. Wow, I think he'll still be around, but I think he'll retire from in-ring work because he's losing a step. He doesn't look as good without a shirt on, and he is much better as a manager / mouthpiece / like fixture. I think he's going to retire from in-ring competition.
Interesting. I've not heard that angle at all. So, but yeah, and look, if the other rumor, like apparently like Adam Cole is out of pocket right now, like he's working TakeOver before SummerSlam, and then he's out of contract too. Like if Adam Cole shows up in AEW, like I might have to start watching AEW. I don't want to, but if Adam Cole is going to hang out with his girlfriend, then
it's not bad, man. It's not bad. It's just different, and sometimes it's different in a good way, and sometimes it's not. Right? Like they had a fucking death match on the other day. Like I'm not big on death matches, but it was something. I
just need them to be themselves. Like I feel like there's still too much referencing the competition, which WWE does not have to do ever, right. Because they're WWE.
The thing with AEW is I feel like they're still, I know this is going to sound weird because they've been around for like a year or two, but I feel like they're still in their honeymoon phase where you can still see, like they could still surprise you, you know what I mean? Whereas, that's going to wear off soon.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, that's going to.
But like, you just don't need to be like, this is the only place where you can see this type of action. I'm just like I get it. Like I get what you're fucking doing, but just chill it out. Like it's fine.
I know what you mean, but it's different. If you could somehow look past that,
it's tough because, like I said, their commentary team is not very good. Like Jim Ross, Jim Ross is like a fucking crafty left-hander that can only throw like 88 when he used to be able to strike guys out with 97 back in the day. Like it's sad to fucking see Jim Ross right now.
Yeah,
it really is. And Tony Schiavone is like had 20 years away from the rest of the business. Like that's not, you know.
I of the three, Excalibur is the best, right?
Yeah.
And if it was just Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, I wouldn't have a problem with it. You know, we all love good old JR, but like good old JR is like he doesn't need to be there. It would be like having the king there. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Like there's some WCW-ness, right? Like with AEW, but I'm starting to appreciate them for some of the things that they do that are different from WWE. Well, at the same time, like Raw is a shit show, right? But SmackDown is amazing.
God,
And
can you imagine if Raw could just be 2 hours?
Yeah.
it would fix so much. It would fix so many fucking problems that Raw has if it just didn't have a lot of dumb bullshit that you have to fill an extra hour of television.
Yeah, man. All these fucking recaps and just if it was a 2-hour show, you're right. Like it would be perfect. It would be tight. You could focus.
It would be perfect, but it'd be better. You're right.
It would be a lot better.
SmackDown is running circles around it right now to the point where if I'm executives at USA, I'd be like kind of pissed actually. Like they'd be like, well, you still got NXT, and they're like, well, we do, but come on, like SmackDown is so much better. Like SmackDown, I'm in for 2 hours every week. Like Raw, like I'll watch the first 30 minutes. I'm like, I'll
pass, man. I'll catch the recaps on YouTube.
Oh, you're actually gonna have Goldberg come out here and cut a 3-minute promo on Bobby Lashley? No, thank you. Don't let him talk. Please don't. Good God. Don't let him wrestle, but especially don't let him talk. Gary asks us, do you play a game multiple times to see every possible outcome, or do you just play once and the story you get is the story you get? I think that we're in opposite camps here. I'm usually the one and done guy. You will replay a game as many times as you need to replay a game. So
I will. If the game does not take 102 hours and 39 minutes, then I'll replay it. But if I invest almost a full, like if I invest 100 hours in something and I don't get the ending that I want, I'm just gonna look the other ones up.
Yeah.
But if a game is like 30 hours is max. If I can beat a game in less than 30 hours, I'll replay it just to kind of get the feel for it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Daniel asks, well-deserved praise in the show for Golden Sun and Mass Effect, but do they have your favorite story from a video game? Now, Carrie answers the Golden Sun question in the post office because she's not on this week. Is Mass Effect my favorite story from a video game? I don't think that any of the Mass Effect stories is the best video game story. I do think that it's the best saga in video games. Like if you take them collectively and the character arcs that some of the different characters go on, I think that it has a lot of really satisfying, all-encompassing beats. And like, especially when you look at characters like Tali and how they evolve and change through the story, characters like Garrus evolves and changes through the story quite a bit. Your character can evolve and change as much as you want it to, because you have a lot of say over that in a lot of ways. Like that's the thing that's impressive about Mass Effect and how they make you feel for certain characters, especially how some characters go out, if they go out, or the ones that have to die because they have to, kind of thing. So I think as a overarching story, like not the minute to minute storytelling, but as an overarching narrative, I'm very satisfied by what Mass Effect provides.
I agree. I also, I like the Naughty Dog games, but I don't necessarily think those stories are good. I just think they're presented very, very well. I think Marvel's Spider-Man is one of the better Spider-Man stories
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen in a while. And to a slightly lesser extent, the Miles Morales expansion. But if you like supplement that with the regular Spider-Man, I think that's another game that I'll just play over and over and over again because I dig the story. Um, as far as other games with like really good stories, the problem with games is that is pacing. Um, I don't know if you can really tell an effective story um, with the way some of these games are paced now. And some people haven't gotten out of the here's a cutscene and then here's actions until we get to the next cutscene. That's not a good way to tell a story. That's just to kind of string you along.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and even the games that I mentioned, like they do that. But I'm having a hard time finding a game that tells a story through its gameplay that is like a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like I think Rockstar tells pretty good stories. Um
But the problem with open world games is that
right, like
because of the design of the game, like that's going to be broken up
right.
immensely. Because you don't have to just mainline. I guess you can mainline the whole thing without doing
Like
any side missions, but
there's an over like the best one that I think they've told is the first Red Dead Redemption. I really enjoyed that story. And I hate westerns, which is probably why like I hold it in such high regard because I really like that game. But they tell an overarching story, but it feels like the the story within the missions does a really good job of moving that entire story along, and the side stuff doesn't feel like there's no ticking clock in the background.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't like stories that have a ticking clock in the background where the fate of the world is at stake, but we got to do this stuff first,
Yeah.
right? Like that can work, but at the same time, like it's the pacing of it, right? Like, well, how imminent is this threat? Because I have another 15 hours to play before before I get through this. So, and that maybe that's not fair, right? But adding, using my real world time to evaluate the way that story's told. But I don't know. But yeah, I like if I say all that just to say I really like the story in Spider-Man.
uh Johnny says happy anniversary this week to Capcom vs SNK 2. He also says free MVC 2. I don't get this. They did release Marvel vs. Capcom 2 once upon a time. I know you can't buy it now, but they did do it.
People want to play it again.
They
basically.
do, which is fine. Johnny also asks, what is our holy trinity of fighting games?
I mean, not to sound too much like a copycat, but I think Third Strike is the best fighting game ever made.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of you name it, uh, the way it looks, the way it plays, the risk reward system with the parrying, the backgrounds, the music, the characters, the mix of characters who are familiar and different. Um, I think Third Strike is a perfect video game, perfect fighting game, and I really enjoyed. I agree that MVC 2 is the perfect mainstream crossover game.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple to play. It's one of those simple to play but hard to master type things, right? Where you can just get in. There's only like 4 buttons, but you can get in and you can have fun with characters that you recognize. But like high level play of that game is incredible. And then while I agree with him that Capcom versus SNK 2 is another phenomenal game that people don't really talk a lot about. I won't pick that one just because he picked it. I'm a little partial to Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Street Fighter Alpha 2 a little more than Alpha 3. Alpha 3's got the like mainstream appeal. It's got all the characters and stuff like that. But I like Alpha 2's music. I like the Alpha counter system a little better. I like that the they in Alpha 3 they have like isms, A-ism and X-ism and B. Like that's you don't have that in Alpha 2 because in Alpha 3 they just kind of broke up Alpha 2 in order to make those isms. So I feel like characters can do a little more. But those would be my three. Third Strike, which is a perfect game, MVC 2, which is the perfect crossover game, and Alpha 2, which I just have a special place in my heart for.
Mine is probably Ultra 4.
It's another phenomenal Street Fighter game.
Yeah, Ultra 4, Tekken 3, which I know is probably surprising to you. I played a lot of Tekken 3 when I was.
Oh yeah, look,
so.
it's an odd numbered Tekken. All the odd numbered Tekken games are good, man. All the odd numbered Tekken games. I'm not looking forward to Tekken 8, but when Tekken 9 comes out, it'll be phenomenal.
And probably Smash would be the third one for me.
Yeah.
Finally, Trey asked, will we ever get another all-star game design team to make another RPG, JRPG, specifically a la Chrono Trigger? No. Game development takes too long and costs too much to ever see a confluence of events like all come together for Chrono Trigger. You're never going to see anything like that again. I don't like unless like three luminaries happen to get hired at the same studio. But even then, like studios don't like to pool their resources like that.
Yeah, they're gonna split those. They're gonna split those people up and make. Hey, you can either make one phenomenal game or three awesome games. We'll make three awesome games.
Yeah. So no, I think Chrono Trigger is very much a unicorn in the gaming world, and it's something that we're and it's funny because Chrono Trigger incredibly successful. Like you would think that people would try to do like the super, like the super team idea again, seeing how successful that was. But again, that's a lot of gambling to do as well, because you have to make, putting a lot of eggs in one basket essentially.
Yeah. They're trying to make money. They're not trying to win any awards.
No, absolutely. So, well, thank you guys for the questions. Again, if you are not part of the Discord group, go to densepixels.com/fans, and you can ask us post office questions every single week, which we will answer on the show. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and along with all the other TNP Studios shows. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/densepixels. Smash the like button when watching this video as well. And then follow us on Twitch. I am densepixels Brad, Terrence is Aberration410, and Carrie is Suffix Carrie. That's it for us. Thank you very much for watching and listening. We'll see you all the next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.